Welcome to The Brain Factor, hosted by myself, Joy Riddle, and Laura Hawley. We're a part of Meridian Behavioral Healthcare, where we believe that wellness is within everyone's reach. This podcast is a conversation about what research-based protective factors look like in real life. Our hope is that you'll walk away with something that you can use in your own life and have had some fun with us along the way. So let's get started. Hi, welcome to The Brain Factor. It's me, Joy, and Laura, as usual, is here with me today as well, which is always exciting. I love spending the day with her when we record these things and talking a little bit about how I feel, because we're going to talk about a feelings wheel today. So it's pretty exciting. You know, feelings can be very complex. And I think a lot of us don't always understand. By a lot of us, I mean me, if you're watching, and if you're not watching and you're listening, I'm raising my hand right now because feelings are very complex for me. I like to, and I've talked about many times on here, keep them in a box, in a shelf, in a closet, safe and sound. So
I know when you came with this topic in one of our planning sessions and you said, I want to talk about a feelings wheel. I said, what did you do with Joy?
You want to talk about feelings? I'm doing some new stuff. So yeah, trying to think about feelings. So feelings wheel was created to help people be able to identify actually the categories of the feelings or what they're actually feeling, because we don't realize that they're all connected. And we'll put up a graphic for you if you're watching. It's an actual wheel.
Okay.
So you can envision a wheel with different sections and different little boxes. Yeah. There's 3 levels to it. It goes out. So in the center, there's a core group of feelings, which are
just
your
a few
basic. Yeah. Okay. I think maybe 5 or 6, something like that. Okay. You've got things like sad, happy, fearful, angry, just your basic feelings that we all, I think, identify.
Large categories.
Yeah, just big categories. And then there's a second rim. So if you're thinking that the core is like the hubcap, maybe, or the lug nuts in an actual wheel, and then the hubcap maybe is the next round where there's a little bit more. So under happy, maybe there's now 9 different feelings that mean happy or are related to happy. Yeah. So then you go out to the biggest part of the wheel, and there might be to the tertiary kind of feelings. So there might be 10 or 15 or maybe even more than that related to it. So it's a visual representation, and we'll put it on Facebook. We will put it into this video.
For sure.
And then I'm sure we'll figure out some way to link it in our actual just audio podcast so that you can find it. And I'm pretty sure it's at feelingswheel.org.
Yeah.
And you go there and it's just a page and it has this wheel. There's not a lot of information or anything about it there, but it was really just built to help people be able to identify what their feelings are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, when Laura and I were kind of talking about this right before we started recording, I was like, because I get these happy, angry, sad things, but then I don't always know that I'm very interested or proud, and that means I'm happy.
Right.
Or
one of the things I picked up on the wheel that really surprised me, because I started looking what are, and some of them are really logical, right? So I'm sad because I'm hurt and I'm disappointed, right? That tracks for me. I get that. I identify that as sad. But then I looked over at the idea of being dismayed, which is in the way outer. That's a real intricate one, right? That's actually in the surprised. It's under surprised as its primary emotion. And I would have thought
very surprising.
I thought I would be sad. But then when I really think of being dismayed, that came because something surprised me. And we already know we can have more than one emotion at the same time. So there might be some sad things in there. But then you go over and you go, okay, well, if I'm sad, then what is, I'm hurt. That's under sad. I could be dismayed and hurt at the same time, right? So I think that's really interesting to me, that the way the categories that we might ascribe some of our emotions to might not be accurate, and that could be why we're having trouble processing them sometimes.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I know that is definitely for me. Plus, I don't like to explore and dig deep into my feelings.
Especially the negative or the hard ones.
Yeah, it brings up all kinds of stuff that I would rather put in the box in the closet. So this is good. Like, I can take this now and I can look at it and maybe go, oh yeah, that's where I'm at on this wheel, and maybe not necessarily have to dig right into it right away.
Sure.
I think it's, and we're going to try and put this wheel out everywhere for you so you'll be able to see it. It's color coded. It's very easy to look at and determine where you're at.
You might even be looking at it right now.
You could be looking at it right now.
Mr. Producer Man?
Yes, he's shaking his head, yes. They're no longer looking at you. Now they're looking at the wheel. You can scratch your side of your face now. So, but some of the ways I wanted to talk a little bit about the practical applications.
Yeah, because beyond it just being this interesting and cool, it serves a function, right?
Yeah.
So what is that?
It helps me or you or someone to identify what is actually going on. It can help you with your communication. So maybe you need to talk to your spouse about something and you're mad about something, and you kind of can look at your wheel and go, oh, well, I'm not really mad. I was hurt by something. So it can help you improve your communication skills.
What kind of mad am I, right?
Yeah, what am I really even mad? I mean, because you brought up a good point before that it can work forwards and backwards. Mm-hmm. So, maybe you're thinking you're sad, but you're actually mad. I don't know. Look it up on the wheel.
Dismayed,
and see.
Right?
Dismayed.
And then, or even just like I might not be identifying feeling as an example, fragile or vulnerable. Yeah. I might not be identifying that as an emotion of sadness.
Right.
I might, and if I'm identifying it that way, that might help me to not feel so inadequate if I'm feeling something that I'm uncomfortable with, like vulnerability or fragility.
Yeah.
Really identifying like that's a sadness emotion, and it's okay if I'm feeling a little bit sad for that. And I also think, you brought up in terms of relationships, it's so important to be so specific when we're communicating in relationships, and the way that I'm angry about that, right? That could create a lot of defensiveness,
right?
Versus pulling from something that's more like what's, I'm feeling frustrated, or I'm feeling on the outer,
being dismissed
or skeptical. That's an anger emotion.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought that was more of I don't know what I thought that was more of, like just being a skeptic, really. I don't even know that I ever identified that as a feeling.
Right. But if I'm feeling skeptical, there's some uneasiness that comes with that. There might even be some I'm offended, depending on where the skepticism's coming from. If maybe I feel like you're trying to pull the wool over on my eyes, right? And that's where my skepticism's coming from. So there are times where, I kind of get that.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have identified it as an anger emotion right off the bat.
Right.
So if I'm telling somebody I'm in a relationship with that I'm angry, they may just only define that a certain way.
Right.
And then there's defensiveness versus I'm skeptical about what you're saying, and that's creating these feelings that I associate with anger that are consistent on that side of the wheel.
And maybe it was just that, because I know you've got this thing with shoes and where they go in your house.
Yes. That's the whole thing. I don't want to talk about it.
I might be. I know. Okay, well, we'll skip that. But I'm just going to say
it's a shoe tray, Joy. The shoes go in the shoe tray.
Go in the tray,
not next to the tray.
And you get angry, probably, or maybe you might say, you feel like you're angry, but really like you're let down, maybe. That is in the secondary, but it's like, I'm working so hard to keep this clean house, this house clean, and my shoes organized, and the dirt out of the house, and a place for everybody to put them so they're not everywhere. And you're working against me. It's letting me down.
Right. And frustrated is under there too, which would be consistent with that.
Which is probably going to make for a better conversation with your spouse than I'm angry. Because like you just said, because all of a sudden we're like, okay, you're angry, I'm angry, we're ready.
Yep.
Let's go.
Mom's mad again.
Let's rumble.
Yeah. Mom's mad again. Big surprise, right?
Yeah.
Versus some of the, speaking of mom's mad again, right? This would be great with children.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, because I'm thinking like this is great as an adult.
I wish my daughter would have come with this wheel when she was born, because that would have been super
some
helpful.
Diapers and binkies and a feelings wheel. Have fun.
I might.
That's so great.
I'm gonna start when I do baby shower gifts. I'm gonna start including this wheel.
Like, listen,
I'm gonna get it
when they start talking.
nicely.
This is gonna be great. Save this, yeah. But and it's so true, because I'm thinking about like as an adult, this is so valuable. But as with any tools, it's like I wish I would have known this.
Right.
Imagine if I knew this all along.
Yeah, when you're a kid, like I think in the 2 episodes ago when we had Dr. Labarta here and she talked about trauma, I think it was her, she was talking about what are you doing in kindergarten? Everybody's learning how to use their words, their feelings, that type of thing. So it's like, use your words instead of punching Johnny. But what if you were able to have the wherewithal and the knowledge to be able to talk to your children when they were very young and be like, you know, because we're like, oh, you're having big feelings right now. So maybe I'm like, you know, they're throwing a fit and I can look up on here and say, well, do you think maybe you're not feeling that you're being heard? Are you frustrated? Sure, or even having the child identify if they're old enough to read all
when
of
they
these
things, to say, you know, okay, so you're saying you are angry.
Right.
Let's look at what kind of angry you are.
Right.
Which one of these is more consistent with how you're feeling?
Did you know that there's these 25 different angries in the family of angry? Wow. I didn't know that.
Right?
Yes.
Right. And some of these surprised us as full-grown adults. So I think that's really cool, you know, and I don't think it's necessarily limited to children, but what a great tool to be able to use that, right? I also think this
go ahead.
works in tandem with some other tools we've shared too, right? Anytime we're exploring feelings, like we just last episode talked about grounding.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, there's all kinds of feelings that would lead us to want to do grounding, and knowing exactly what that feeling is.
And wouldn't that be nice if you had a bucket here where you're like, oh, I know these things are going on. I need to ground myself now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like triggers for grounding, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's cool. Deep breathing we've covered before.
Yeah.
Particularly if it's like, okay, I've identified my emotion. Now what am I going to do with it? Sometimes it's just that awareness piece, and we need to sit with that. We can do deep breathing exercises to help us really sit with that and explore that we are experiencing that feeling that we might have not miscategorized, but categorized way broader than it actually was.
I was thinking about an application in the workplace too, especially if you're a supervisor or a manager or something like that, because sometimes employees come at you in different ways.
Or each other.
Or each other. Yeah, great. I hadn't even thought about that. So just as a peer, you know, if they're expressing a particular emotion, maybe it can help you to understand what's actually going on.
Sure.
Yeah.
I really love that. That's great. This could be used all kinds of
if you're into journaling, wouldn't it be nice if you could be, you know, you're writing, I don't know, so-and-so did whatever, and I'm, what am I? I'm frustrated. Oh, okay, I'm frustrated because I was feeling like, where does frustrated fall under? Angry?
Is it angry or sad?
Sad, yeah.
See, we're still, it's under angry.
Yeah, we're learning.
Okay.
I will tell you this. My therapist gave me this tool, and she said, you'd be surprised how many adults don't recognize their own emotions and don't know what they are. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you know, and I'm always like, I know a lot of stuff. I do a podcast in this space and stuff.
And then you looked at the wheel and you were like, oh, people don't know this? Huh? That's weird.
Definitely. I have to go back now to tell her, like, I did my episode and I used your thing. I told her recently, yeah, we need to meet again because I need more content.
Right. Oh, I love it. I love it. That's great. It's a mutually beneficial relationship.
Yeah.
You know, and it's interesting when you talk about journaling. I really, all I could think about is, and, you know, people use journaling different ways, right?
Right.
But the times that I've journaled, one of the things I found really valuable is looking for trends, right? So that's how I help identify, like, what what my triggers might be or how I feel in certain circumstances. And for triggers, I mean negative and positive. What are the things that really bring me joy? What are the things that, joy, what the podcast brings me joy. She's right here. But also like, what are the things that, that make me angry or make me upset or any of these emotions on the wheel? But I think if we're not being specific enough or by being more specific in our journaling, the trends are going to be more accurate.
Yes.
Because if I'm just seeing that I'm getting angry a lot, I'm going to go, oh, I'm having problems with my anger.
But maybe I'm
not.
Maybe you're super frustrated.
And maybe it's 10 different things. Is that really a trend? I mean, it's a trend for the greater bucket, but it's not the same as like, oh, you need anger management, right?
Right. No, not really.
Yeah. Or maybe I'm identifying sadness emotions as anger because I've miscategorized it, or surprised emotions as anger because I've miscategorized it. So I think that in something with journaling, really like, and as sort of, I guess, nerdy as it sounds, like literally sitting down with this wheel physically and saying, before I name this in writing, let me see where this falls. Because then when we go back and look at that journal, we're going to have a more accurate depiction of the whole range of our human experience versus this sort of oversimplified and inaccurate, emotion dumping. Right. And so that's cool. I mean, you're an avid journaler. I'm not. I go in and out of it.
Oh, no, I'm not.
So, I thought you were.
No,
You just like it.
I just think it's a good place. And I know a lot of people do it. I am journaling right now. I'm going through some personal issues right now. So I'm writing things down because whenever I really need to focus and accomplish things, I will take to a notepad and start writing. But I also like it because I guess I do like it. I just don't do it a lot.
That's fair.
I like to be able to go back, because if I flip back 4 weeks and I see, oh, wow, what a change has occurred. Right. I do have a current journal for what I'm dealing with at the present time. But I'm going to go back through it now with the feelings wheel, and I'm going to look at it, and I'm going to try and put in what I think I was actually feeling at that time. Because most of it either is mad or hurt or, whatever, just the basics.
Sure. What a great application of that. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. It is.
I think we're learning that there's a lot of different applications for this tool. Yeah. It's at first glance, it seems like it's just this surface simple thing.
I know.
But it's not. There's a lot more happening here. And I think that it's worthwhile to figure out how this might help benefit you in your life and ways because I wouldn't have thought of that, what you had just said, going back in hindsight and really trying to recategorize stuff, using it in our communications and our relationships. That's how I plan to implement this right away.
Yeah.
Just making sure that I'm being as accurate as possible.
I'm going to print out a color one and put it on our fridge. Wait, before we go point at what we're talking about, because sometimes I don't know. It comes and I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah, absolutely. And then, I have a teenager at home, and that's like being in the toddler phase again with big feelings.
That's a whole wheel.
It's an entire wheel at the same, often simultaneously. But so I'll absolutely use that with her, and so I thank you for bringing this to the podcast, and because I was not previously aware of this wheel, and so that was really helpful for me. I hope you guys have had the same experience. Let us know, loop back with us. Let us know how this is going to benefit you, and if you've met with any kind of success in communications or regulation of emotions or anything like that. Just give us your feedback. We always enjoy that so much.
Yeah, and if you're learning to understand your emotions a little bit better due to the wheel or anything like that, let us know.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again for joining us. As always, it's been a fun time, and we will see you guys next time. Thanks for listening to The Brain Factor. Joy and I are so thrilled to be having these needed conversations. We'd love to hear your feedback on this episode, so if you could drop a comment or leave a review with your thoughts or any requests that you may have, it would be appreciated. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Living a healthier and happier life starts with one step, and we're excited to be on this journey with you. Until next time.